Alright, well, after a few friends of mine asked me to make a bank video for my free-to-play only Ironman and old school RuneScape, I decided I would just kind of make a video talking about sort of the interesting aspects of the free-to-play only version of the game and the metagame involved with it, and kind of just go over some of the cool things about free-to-play only Ironman, my account, what I've accomplished so far, and some of the things I'm planning on doing in the future with this account. So to start off, what is a free-to-play only Ironman? Well, an Ironman is basically a type of RuneScape account, right, where you cannot trade with anyone. You have to acquire everything on your own, essentially. There's sort of a vibrant free-to-play only community. It's a small but dedicated group of players who want to play with the challenge of only being able to use the free-to-play content in the game. So not getting members and unlocking all the stuff that a subscription affords you. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a self-imposed restriction that people like to play with to kind of make the game either more challenging or more interesting, or kind of give a different spin on the game. Kind of like how Swampletics, has an Ultimate Ironman that's sort of locked in Mauritania. It's sort of just a self-imposed thing to kind of have fun with and have a new take on the game. But yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about sort of the free-to-play only metagame and sort of what I've been able to accomplish so far. There's two big things about playing free-to-play only Ironman, two really big goals that most people go for. And I guess I'll start with kind of the more basic one. The first big goal is 70 crafting. The reason 70 crafting is so important is because it gets you the best in slot necklace or amulet for the rest of the game, the Amulet of Power. Amulet of Power, I think, is +6 to all defense, +6 to all attack, and then +6 to strength. And it also gives you 1 prayer bonus as well. Overall, it's just a really strong item to have. It's best in slot for ranged, and it's really good as well for ogresses, which are a big part of the free-to-play metagame. At the Corsair Cove, ogresses are one of the best things to kill for money because they drop a ton of runes, a ton of alchable rune items, and a bunch of arrows. It's generally just a really good way to make a lot of money. So a lot of people start off by going for 70 crafting so that they can make the Amulet of Power, since it's so good for melee and for ranged. Kind of the way I started at the Alkyrid mine, mined there for a bit, and then I sort of learned about one of the new techniques. I started going to the crafting guild too, but there's a technique or a method that a lot of people figured out where you use the Chronicle, which is a book you get from Draenor Village, and you can teleport to right here, the Champions Guild, and then you can go and hit up this mine. It has 3 silver, and you kind of world hop in between, mine all the silver here, and then immediately teleport to Falador, smelt, bank, rinse and repeat. It's a little bit faster to do it this way than the crafting guild, but you do have to world hop a lot more. Back when I did it, the world hop limit was still in place, which was kind of annoying. But now you don't even need. There is no world hop limit, except there is kind of one right now because the coronavirus thing is causing all these people to play, and there's also been DDoS attacks against Jagex. So. But that's a big one a lot of people go for. That's kind of the main thing I started on with this account. I wanted to get the Power Amulet first before I started training ranged. The other really big thing that people go for is 89 smithing. So at 89, you can boost to level 90 with a Dwarven Stout, get to 90 smithing, and then make a Rune Scimitar. And Rune Scimitar is the best melee weapon in free-to-play only. And for Ironman, the only way to acquire one is by getting 89 smithing on your own. It's a pretty monumental grind, and it's kind of the inspiration I had for making this account. It seemed like a fun challenge to try and get 89 smithing free-to-play only Ironman. That's the big thing a lot of people go for. And sort of the strategy to get 89 smithing is pretty interesting. it's people have crunched the numbers, and it seems like the fastest method is to just spam mine iron. And I've been mining a ton here at the mining guild on these iron rocks. So mining iron is pretty much the fastest because it's so quick to collect, and you still get pretty decent XP from smithing like iron plate bodies. That's the preferred method that most people go for. It's pretty quick. The thing about it, though, the thing that's interesting is that mining the iron itself is really not the hardest part of the grind. The other most difficult part of the grind to get to 89 smithing is you need a way to smelt the ore. So for those of you that don't know, in RuneScape, when you smelt iron, there's only a 50-50 chance that your iron will turn into a bar. So it effectively makes it so you'd have to mine twice as much iron, because you're going to have to smelt it all down and only get a 50% yield. As you can see here, I've mined a ton of iron, and I also have a lot of iron bars. The way you can get around this, though, is the best way to get around it is with nature runes. So with nature runes, you can get those from like killing ogresses, and when you superheat, which is you basically smelt using magic, you don't need a furnace. It has a 100% success rate, and that's really nice for free-to-play Ironman. You basically save natures as much as you can and save them for superheating, because it saves you so much time. You don't have to double mine, essentially. It's really nice. The other way is to get rubies, and I have a pretty big stockpile of rubies too, because rubies you can craft them into ruby rings, and then turn those ruby rings into rings of forging. And rings of forging allow you to you're able to smelt 140 iron ore into iron bars without fail, which is pretty nice. So every ruby really matters for free-to-play Ironman, because like I said, the sort of a big hurdle to climb over is not just mining the iron itself, but having a way to smelt it efficiently. So yeah, this account has been really focused on that grind in particular. I started off with the 70 crafting grind, and then I've been working slowly and steadily towards 89 smithing. I think the goal right now with this account is to try and get to 85 smithing, and then there's another big milestone at 85 smithing, which is being able to boost to the rune axe. The only way to get a rune axe for free-to-play Ironman is to make it yourself, and so it's a pretty big milestone there at 85. So I'm going to try and get to 85 smithing, stop and take a break, and then work a bit on wood cutting and fire making, because they're pretty chill skills, pretty AFKable relative to mining. So I kind of want to take a break there. But yeah, we can go over my bank real quick just to kind of show some of the stuff I have. Got about 18.5 mil stack. I've also got a 3 mil stack, but 18.5 like valuation. I've done a lot of clue scrolls for like beginner clue scrolls, which are free to play available. So I've been able to get a few cool items. I've been able to get these ornament kits, which like are a cosmetic transformation to Rune Scimitar. So kind of gives me a good motivation to try and get 89 smithing to use these guys. Some other cool ones I've got are like the Amulet of Defense, the Mole Slippers, which are just super gangster. And then right now I'm wearing the Demon Feet and the trimmed monk robe top. So I've been trying to do a lot of luckily mining once you get these clue scrolls, so you're able to do a lot there, and get a lot of clues in. There's a lot of other interesting things about the free-to-play only meta I think I could talk about. One of the interesting things I guess I can show you here is how rune crafting works in free-to-play only. It's honestly pretty insane. What you want to do is, let's deposit one, and then let's just withdraw one coin or something. Inventory spot open. So as you can see, before we go and do this, just go over the rest of my bank. I have a lot of these law runes saved up. Death runes, chaos runes. Most of these are from killing ogresses. This has been for my 89 smithing grind, and I'm really close to getting to 85, to getting that milestone with all this stuff thrown together. A lot of arrows too, but I've been trying to keep up a lot on my Addy and Myth arrows. Just kind of a random like alkables tab here. This is mostly just from fishing and food for if I ever need to train melees, and then I have like a bunch of the holiday items here as well, which is cool. But yeah, let's talk about some of the interesting skills that and like the way that you train them. Let's start off with rune crafting though, because rune crafting is so crazy. So you can see I haven't done rune mysteries, and in fact you never want to really do rune mysteries unless you're going for like 99 rune crafting, I think. But if you're going for like, I think it's like less than 88 rune crafting, you never want to do rune mysteries. And the reason is because you can spam collect these talismans and turn them use them with the tiaras that you make from crafting, and turn them into air tiaras. And they give you 25 XP per. This is actually the fastest way to train rune crafting on a free-to-play only Ironman. So as you can see here, I'm getting like 25 XP per. Just got 15 rune crafting from it. You can spam collect these talismans from the Duke of Lumbridge. You basically talk to him and you keep dropping the talismans, then you put them in your bank and withdraw them as a note. And you could basically just like sit there, spam through the dialogue, and can collect a ton of talismans. It's really grindy and annoying, but ultimately it gets you the best XP rate for rune crafting. So you can if you're like pretty fast and diligent, you can collect about 500 talismans an hour using that method. And kind of what people do is they basically train crafting and rune crafting at the same time. Like you basically go do a run there in Lumbridge, and you can come here and like mine gold, mine silver, and then you like teleport back to Falador and rinse and repeat. Range is pretty self-explanatory. Like you get to level 40, you get full green dragon hide, and basically just let it rip from there. Prayer, my prayer here is pretty much all exclusively from big bones. From killing ogresses and burying the big bones. It's like pretty crazy. There's no like XP multiplier in free to play. There's no like ectofuntus or player house altars or anything like that. You just have to like do it the old-fashioned way, just like burying them. It's pretty insane. My magic XP here is mostly from like splashing and from superheating. Superheating is like a really good way to convert your nature runes into good magic XP. Crafting, like I said, you know, I went and trained at Varrock Southwest to get 70 crafting. Fishing and cooking are pretty self-explanatory too. You just go to Barbarian Village and do the fly fishing here. If you want to bank some of your food, you can run up to Edgefield, but otherwise you can just cook at the fire and drop it. Pretty self-explanatory. And then woodcutting and fire making are pretty basic too, but like the big part of it is how are you going to plan to get 85 smithing so that you can get that rune hatchet, so you can train it efficiently. The popular spots are the usual like Trainer Village willows, but a lot of people also go to the Corsair Cove area and cut down the maples and use here because they're a little bit more AFKable. So I plan on taking a break soon and trying to knock that out if possible. But the free-to-play meta is like really interesting. I'd say the game, playing a free-to-play only style like this, it's a lot more straightforward. It's less overwhelming and less crazy and all over the place, but it definitely is more grindy. Like you have to just sit there and just like, you know, if you want to get 99 fishing, you basically just do the same thing from like level 25 to 99. So it is definitely a grind, but it's a lot more simple and straightforward. I think a lot of people who kind of come back to RuneScape sometimes get overwhelmed by all the new updates and all the new features. And like every couple months, there's some new quest line or new part of the map that has all these things that you kind of have to go do if you want to keep up with being as efficient as possible. But the cool thing about free to play is it very rarely changes. It gets just a few updates a year, so there's not as much stuff you have to catch up on. And you can take a break from the game, come back a couple months later, and like the game's going to be more or less pretty similar to the way you left it. I kind of like that aspect to it, because the game's not as overwhelming and it's pretty straightforward. So if anyone's especially during this coronavirus quarantine, we're all in lockdown or whatever, if you're considering coming back to RuneScape, I recommend checking out like the free-to-play only version of the game. You can check out this clan, W385. It's a free-to-play only clan. It's like one of the biggest ones out there, and there's a lot of active players on here who talk a lot and have a lot of good advice. So if you're interested, I definitely recommend checking out the free-to-play version of the game, coming back to RuneScape, and a lot of people do kind of come check it out, and some people end up moving on to pay-to-play, but it's a good like way to get back into RuneScape, I would say. But yeah, I'd say as far as like my account goals and whatnot are concerned, 85 smithing is the big goal right now. I want to be able to get to that rune hatchet and be able to start training woodcutting. I also have a lot of gems piled up, and I've been mining a lot of gold as well, so that I can turn that stuff into jewelry. And I think I'm going to try and beast through the stockpile I have from that and try and get maybe like 73, 74 crafting, something like that, which would be kind of cool. Obviously long term is getting 89, and that's going to be hopefully a little bit down the line, but I'm over halfway done with the grind so far, so I feel pretty confident that I can get it done. Yeah, and other than that, kind of would like to get like some other big long-term goals, would be like 90 magic, and then maybe like 85 all melees, something like that. Probably like around 90 woodcutting and 90 fire making. That's like super long-term, but obviously will be, some of these things won't even be as hard as like how much mining I've done so far, so I think it'll be cool. But yeah, so that's kind of like overall my account goals and kind of what I'm trying to get done. Been having a lot of fun. I've kind of gotten back into RuneScape with the quarantine, like the coronavirus outbreak and everything. It's definitely doing good things for my RuneScape career. So yeah, so I think very soon I'm going to start going through all these gems I have saved up. I have like 500 sapphires. This is all mostly from random events and killing ogresses. I'm going to try and beast through that. Beast through this iron ore. Turn these all into rings of forging and see if I can't get on the home stretch to 85 smithing. So yeah, that's a little bit about this account and kind of my strategy with RuneScape. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.